How is it going, my friends? Welcome back. The last time we were doing Master Duel content was like a few months ago, but I've been really streaming almost every other day on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/nimnim. If you haven't seen it, you should probably go check it out. Can't really tell from the home screen here, but take a gander. I am Diamond 1 for Ranked Duel Season 15, which means you must respect everything I say. I am clearly an expert. I've been trying to experiment with a lot of different decks. As you can see, look at the library. Currently, way too many. I probably have to slim this thing down. We've played a whole variety of different things. Not only are we Diamond 1 in the season, but we also hit Duelist level 20 in the Cup already. Like I said, man, we've been on the grind. I think for content, what I want to do is I just want to kind of show you guys what I've been playing recently, and then maybe a replay or two that just kind of encapsulates the entire like gameplay of the deck, and maybe has points that we can review or like discuss and see what we could have did differently. Here's the Spright deck that I've been playing on ladder recently. It's just pretty much pure Spright with frogs. I haven't touched Runic Spright yet, but I definitely got to try that deck out. I think it might be in a better spot than this one. This deck's been extremely rewarding to play and tinker with, though. I still think it could even use some work. Last time I was playing this deck, I did put Solemn Judgment in, but disregard it probably. This card fucking blows. I'm trying to test more things in the best one strategy. I kind of had the theory that, you know, Judgment, a really well-timed Judgment at any time in the game could technically win you it, but it definitely hasn't paid off. This thing probably should get cut. I've been having a lot of fun with this pure Spright strategy because it's sort of like a tool belt, right? You can pull certain things out, like wind up kitten to out certain monsters. I period to get draws. The swap proc package is ridiculous. You get the bounce max C mid combo to hand if you have the right grip of cards. And it also allows for like the most robust extra deck. We've done testing with live twins, and I think it's a little bit more restrictive because you have to include like 5 certain cards just to scythe lock your opponent. Speaking of locking your opponent, we were trying Corruptor Ibly. As long as you don't run into Math Mech, the card's pretty good. I think I have a replay that actually is really good, showing why I ended up cutting the card. I would probably cut like the old gentleman here for like Nimble Beaver, because it's a water monster. You can pitch it with Swap Frog, and it's one of the better twos, being able to just pull another one directly from deck. Maybe Diva wouldn't be too bad either, right? Something to test out. But this deck's in a pretty good spot. The extra deck is actually pretty extremely tight. These twos are pretty tight, though. I feel like I go into all of these pretty often, especially the double Zeus. Some people don't play Downer. Like, I couldn't fit Downer Magician in the live twin version of this deck. Really frustrating because there's a lot of times where you just want to get like a 4 material Zeus. We also tried the Dark Beckoning Beast package, which is like 5 cards. You play the 3 of the Dark Beckoning Beast. This guy right here. It's actually pretty cool because it plays under Maxi really well because it just gives you an additional normal summon, and then the continuous spell actually allows you to reborn a couple times if it stays on there. And you get to play a card like Jin Buster in the extra deck here, which is just like a negate. You know, if you get Max Seed or something like that, you can just stick up this guy, which is at least a negation. Doesn't destroy the card, though. Pretty whack. The frogs in the end are definitely the best version. It's the smallest package. That is definitely the freest. Rodent Totem comes back multiple times. It's follow-up on the next turn. And then just bouncing Max C, like I said. Ridiculous interaction. This is definitely the best shape it's in. Right, enough talking about the deck. Let me show you guys the replays. I only have 2 of them, but I think they're really good replays, and there's a lot to talk about. Yeah, you're probably looking, you're like, man, 2 turns total? How are you going to make ad revenue with this? You just wait. Just wait. Okay, so like we saw, the first game here is a loss, but sometimes you learn more from your losses than your wins, okay? Check this hand out. Pretty solid. We got the Old Man, Infip, Cosmic Cyclone, Red, and Jet. Solid. We're just going to start the Red, special the Jet. Jet's going to get us the starter. We'll immediately start her here to get blue. We do that because it allows us to give us the most flexibility with red, and, you know, just in case this starter didn't resolve, we can pick something that we need off of the gigantic Spright here before that. So we get the blue. Blue's going through. My man, pick up the carrot. We got the whole Spright Brigade in the hand. So we go into the Gigantic here. Gigantic effect. Lots of options we can pull out. Like we said, I was testing with Corruptor Ibly, and that's the cheese that I'm going to select to give to my opponent here. Corruptor Ibly is kind of, by the way, hot royal rare. If it's sent to the graveyard, you special summon it to your opponent's side of the field, and they can only link summon while this card's on the field. That's the only type of special summoning they can do. So they can like normal summon and link away to get the Corruptor Ibly off the field. But, you know, some decks aren't going to be able to do that really easy. If you have a card like Smashers or, say, Judgment, you just stop that first summon and they're stuck with the Ibly. Unless you're playing Math Mech. Math Mech does have a free way to just link this off in a card like Lingaribo, which requires 1 Cyberse monster exactly. But, you know, if not all decks are playing Lingaribo. I don't know. It's kind of hot. You'll see we set up the board here with the Elf. Go into the Elf, and then we're going to give them the Corruptor Ibly. Yeah, you can enjoy that royal rare. I'm sure you will. We just go for the Elf, summon back the blue. We're going to stick an IP Masquerena, set these 3 back row, and we are big chilling, man. All right, so we're going to pass over to our opponent, and he's going to go draw, standby phase into the main phase. Let's see the very first thing he does. Dark Ruler no more. Normally would be board crushing here, but oh, flip the Old Man. We're just saying no for $34.50. We paid a little bit with starter. Pretty cool interaction is that it pays less because we are playing life points with starter. Not too bad. Our opponent ends up going normal summon red. He can't special summon it because he has his Corruptor Ibly. Solid for us, right? It would be really nice to use the Judgment there, but of course We have to change it to the Dark Ruler. This is cute because his normal summon's actually super powerful for him. He can tribute off our Nightmare Corruptor Ibly to negate any monster effect. Doesn't destroy the card, which is really good, but just, of course, getting the Corruptor Ibly off his field is step one, and that's going to stymie any of our plays here. So we pass the priority to him, and he ends up activating Raigeki, and there is something to say here. Like, what if we activated Solemn Judgment, negated the Dark Ruler no more, and then in the open game state here, activated Elf or went for it to try to pull back, like, blue, maybe set up an IP Masquerena or, like, even red or something like that. If he chains red here, tributes the Ibly, okay, sure. He negates the Elf effect. That's fine. But when he activates Raigeki, we can still carrot and then just sack off the Elf because we got the value for it. This Raigeki feels like super bad here because if I would have Elf before, I could have gotten the free tribute for carrot, but now everything's like, it's a difficult decision now, right? Do I tribute the Elf and then just not have it, or do I tribute this IP Masquerena? And I think I make the worst decision possible. Let's see what Gage does here. I activate carrot, tributing Elf to negate the Raigeki. I don't know why I go for this line then. And then he goes red to negate the carrot, right? To negate this carrot. This makes sense, right? He wants to have his Raigeki resolve. And then I ended up going into IP Masquerena's Chainlink 4. And this is going to be able to make whatever I want, and it's not going to be able to be destroyed by Raigeki. Let's see what I make. The only Link 3 in the deck, I think. Oh, no, I go into a 2. So we end up going into Elf. There's a lot that's happened so far, right? I feel like with that interaction in particular, there could have been an entirely different way to save this game. If I had gone, what? Activate Carrot, tribute the Masquerena. Our opponent goes Elf to negate because he wants to wipe still. And then we go Elf summon back. No, maybe this was the right play. Why did I save this replay? No. Okay, we're on the right track. We're trying to figure out if there was a better play here. This is exactly why I saved this, is because this interaction here. I think the entire game lies on the shoulders of this interaction here with this Raigeki. I was feeling really bad that I didn't get this Elf effect, but now I'm trying to see the lines if there was something different that could have happened. If this Elf had reborn a blue, right, and we tributed with the carrot, I don't think I'd feel nearly as bad if this red ended up negating that carrot, right? Yeah, because I still have an IP Masquerena on the field. Oh, yeah, see, because then if our opponent goes activate Raigeki there, then we have IP plus Elf and carrot. We can go into, like, an Appaloosa or an Avermax that can't be destroyed. Absolutely crushing for our opponent there, and they've already used the red negate. All right, okay, so yeah, missing that Elf interaction was huge. I don't think that's something that if you have toggle off, like just on auto, I don't think that's something that it would give you an option after the resolution of judgment. So something I'd have to be more attentive for sure. All right, so Raigeki resolves, and then our opponent, another reason I saved this replay, so far, the God Hand, right? Red to perfectly counteract with the Corruptor Ibly. He has Dark Ruler no more, which gets met by my Judgment, lucky me. Raigeki and Feather Duster. Okay, didn't realize I was playing against Yami Yugi. We'll go Infip on the Spright Red, negating it, and it'll get rid of the other card there, which was our Cosmic Cyclone. Not too bad. He hasn't activated anything too crazy until I see he activates another crazy card. Get the fuck out of the way. Yeah, triple tactics talent, right? Probably the perfectly carved going second hand here. He's able to triple tactics, and the thing that he selects here is to take control of one of my monsters here. I still have the Elf effect because, remember, in the last interaction, we didn't end up using it. Cool that I get it again here, but I've already used a card like IP Masquerena. So what am I getting back? Really nothing, because it's just going to get snatched. I think I end up getting Jet just to get Jet effect for next turn. Yep. Okay, we go Jet. He takes our Elf. Jet gets a starter for next turn. And our opponent goes starter. Look where he put it. Absolute bozo status. That's awesome. I don't know how, but we end up not living. I think the rest of the turn here ends up crushing us. Just gigantic in the blue. Jet. And he does play Gamma Burst because he's amazing. Battle phase. We end up losing this one. But yeah, I looking back on this game, I think it was definitely one of those winnable games, and that's why I saved the replay. Tons of different things go, but that's the fact. Again, I just have to point out the opponent opened literally Exodia. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. That still felt like a game that was totally winnable through that 5-card grip, 6-card grip, if we just played it a little bit better with proper sequencing. I learned something. Did you? I hope so. Crushing defeat, man. It is what it is. Don't worry about it. And that was 2 turns, by the way. Now let's see how long I can stretch. 6 turns. This one's a win, so you can expect to see some high-caliber gameplay. Okay. So this one, pretty solid opening grip. Are we going first or second? I don't remember. We are going second. Okay. This is up against Sword Soul. And I think this is a really good showcase, actually, too. Our grip is blue, starter, which is kind of iffy, you know, nothing grab off Jet except Smashers. Prosperity is actually insane as a one of, I've realized. I've just started recently playing with this card off a suggestion, and oh my god, I love it, dude. Seeing the top 6 sometimes can get you out of some really hairy situations, or allow you to, pick apart your opponent's board by picking the exact card you need. Called by the Grave is super solid. Against this matchup, it's alright, I guess. And then, of course, blue, paired with starter, is, I guess, as good as it gets. Okay, so our opponent's going to start with Shithana into the Munkatenyi. He goes into a normal summon Moye, reveal Longyon. Picks up Shishao. Shishao effect. Chain Moye. Draws a card, and then he gets Longyon. Okay, so he Longyons, discards Taya. Taya gets the token. Synchro for a Baron Diffler. Longyon, burn me for 12. Ow. Set 1 card. Pass turn. Pretty standard Sword Soul Bull with Shithana in the graveyard. Not gonna lie, Shithana's kind of an annoying card here. If you accidentally, quote, if I just don't read and then destroy a normal monster, things can get really shitty because it just pops one of your monsters and then special summons itself, right? Oh yeah, and then it just specials the monk back. You'd be looking extra silly. I've done it before. Act like you haven't done it before. So our opponent's passing with a pretty good board, right? Omni Negate, Monster Negate, Unknown Spell or Trap. He didn't end up searching Blackout, but you can pretty much assume this is always Blackout unless you test for it. And then Monk of the Tenyi with, of course, Shithana in the graveyard. We're going to draw for turn. Swap Frog. This is definitely a tool we wanted to have to be able to go second. Cracking this board is definitely going to get a lot easier. Let's see where we lead. I think we just lead with normal summon Swap Frog. Activate. And our opponent does maximum C here. Again, normally this is oppressive, but we do have the mini-game winner in Called by the Grave. This is really interesting because if our opponent gets super greedy and assumes he can Baron to Fleur here, we're able to actually crack this board pretty easy, right? This is the one thing that's giving me a lot of trouble, but if I can bait this out super early, I can have things like Starter and Prosperity Resolve, which are going to be infinitely more powerful. So we activate Call by the Grave, and our opponent, silly little goose, does end up going to negate. We go to Chain Starter to be able to get things rolling here, pull this out of the deck, and our opponent goes Chain Ash Blossom on the starter. Talk about having literally everything. It's fine. Starter gets negated. Not a problem. We still have this blue in hand. Things should be looking good. Just have to work around this Shishao and whatever this presumed back row is. I decided to go for Prosperity here because I don't want to overcommit into this Blackout. And as long as I have this Prosperity and one monster or something like that, he can't really black out for 2 efficient cards. So we go for Prosperity. Pick off the top. Reveal blue, swap, triple tactic, kitten, carrot, and feather duster. Probably as good as it gets, but the one card that stands out is, of course, the triple tactics talent that we revealed. Not only because it's royal rare, but it also is going to allow us to, be able to pick off this board a little bit more efficiently. Baron Defleur's already used its negate, so I can still take up that, and then I can just attack over the Shishao, because this still has negate here. And it's not that it's making things difficult, but I'd rather have cards like blue and stuff resolve. So we end up taking the triple tactics talent. Beautiful royal rare, by the way. Just look at it for a second. Yep. Oh, whoop. Back to the gameplay. He ends up passing priority back to us, and I'm like, well, I should probably get this blue down, just in case that is Blackout, so he pops these 2, and then I can't special blue and I lose the game. But I think he would have already flipped this if it was Blackout. He would have flipped it on here, maybe, or something like that, so I don't get the option to even pop with Baron de Fleur. But we end up summoning the blue anyways, and blue gets its search. It gets negated with Shishao, which is fine. I wasn't going to pop the Shishao anyways. I'm more worried about that unknown back row, kind of screwing everything up. He goes for Shishao on the blue. It's fine. I'm not worried about that. If he didn't let that resolve, I get Jet, and then things get even more scary for him. So he negates with Shishao. No problem. Blue gets negated, and we'll Baron de Fleur, pop the back row. Ends up being Called by the Grave on Run and Tonin. Not really that big of a deal. We still have full access to, Gigantic Spright here, which would absolutely cook. I think at this point, we got rid of the Corrupt or Ibly in the deck. So as cute as it would look to give him Sword Soul deck, Corrupt or Ibly, that literally can't do anything with that. It's just not in the cards here. Call by the Grave on this is definitely best case scenario though. Okay, so that's fine. Not worried about it. Still have Baron de Fleur. We'll go into Gigantic Spright. And my main thing here is now we're under max C, right? So I want to give him the least amount of cards possible, and I don't have a way to kill him since he Ash Blossomed. Really scared on just any other hand traps that he could add. Lucky enough that he had the Ash and the max C, plus a full board. But I think the big thing to start outing this board is to make sure I get the Gigantic Spright down, because as long as I resolve this effect, he can't use the Shithana in graveyard to protect this Munkatenyi, which is causing a lot of problems, actually. So the Gigantic Spright, we're going to pull out of the deck a Jet, and then Jet's going to pick up Smashers for the defensive here. We go Battle Phase, and then Baron, of course, is going to allow us to get over that and the Monk and stuff. Fine. Direct for 13. And then the main phase 2, this is what I'm talking about. Oh, I had to go Elf to get rid of his Baron de Fleur. I would have been stupid if I just gave it back to him, right? So we end up go Elf, Give him one more card up to 4. Set Smashers, Starter. Starter is pretty sick here that we had the second one because the first one got negated by Ash. This one's going to be able to pull out some sort of negate. We go for it in the draw phase, just so with his, main phase 1 priority, if the first thing he activates is a really good spell card or something like that, kind of want to have the chance to negate it. He has an infit for the elf, which, honestly, we're cool with that. That's fine. It's kind of upsetting that I don't get the opportunity to chain it, but I mean, if he was going to use it at any time, that was probably the right time. This would have probably just got summoned under the elf here anyways. Regardless, we don't get the elf effect anymore, but that's not a problem. We can just use it as Smasher's food. Our opponent goes for Adara, summon, link into the Monk of the Tenyi, and then before we pass priority to him, we are going to end up using this Spright Smashers because he does have a banished Long Yawn. So he could go, Adara, pick up this Long Yawn, pitch another worm that he has in his hands, and things can get really, really bad for us. I can deal with like one monster negate here with red, like a normal summon Moye or something like that. But if he has the Long Yawn extender and like another worm in hand, it would be pretty much curtains. So we are going to Smashers here to banish this monk. Banish the elf. We're not getting any value out of it anyways. And as predicted, it ends his turn. One more set card in the mix. We're flying high at this point, though. We ended up breaking this entire board, which was pretty impressive on its own, but now we're able to clutch this back into the win. Draw the Max C because we're big chillin' like that, as if we needed the insurance. End up just going for the Gigantic Spright, some of the blue from the deck. Blue's just going to pick up a carrot, and we're going to get out the whole Spright Brigade here. Just carrot to protect from whatever this is. It doesn't really matter. I go Elf. I'm trying to get for a kill shot here into a 3200, and it gets belled. Nice hand trap, I guess. And we just decided to chill with this here. We know this last card is another Long Yawn in hand, right? So the thing is if we just not commit anything, and he goes, summon the card off the top, Taya, or even like a Moye or something, you negate that, and he doesn't have another card in hand to be able to pitch for Long Yawn. So we're in a good spot. We're winning. Any spell trap off top just gets negated with carrot as well. Pretty easy win from here out. Just deal some damage. Can't kill him. No reason to commit anything else, though. So we're just pass it to him. And, like I said, summon Moye. Shows us the Long Yawn in the hand. Just negate and destroy the Moye. And then that's the end of the game. He passes it to us. We'll draw. And I think we normal summon the Maxi for the maximum BM. Cosmic Cyclone, hit the back row. It's cross-hat designator. It doesn't really matter in this case scenario. It was more of a bluff than anything. We summon the Maxi, go into the Gigantic, and that's the game. I thought this replay, pretty solid. Played around like literally the best case scenario for Sword Soul. Max board plus Max C in the hand. We're just that good, That's the only 2 replays I have. I felt like that was enough to show for this. Yeah, this is the list that we ended up finishing on. I know we showed Ibli in the other one, but this has ended up what we settling on. Like I said, you can probably cut Judgment. Card didn't win us the duel anyways that we ended up Dark Rollering. But it could have. That's the whole point. If you guys enjoyed something like this, let me know. I'll be able to save more replays just from more games that I play. And if you want to catch all the games live, too, you can come to twitch.tv/nimnim. I'm live just like about every other day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya!